Hello everyone, it's Moonkin FTW and welcome to episode 8 of my RCT3 Masterclass. In this episode we'll be focusing on some accessories of our roller coaster because while it's starting to look very nice, it's still missing a few things. So in this episode we're going to focus on finishing up the chain lift because we still need some stuff there, also the brake run right here, and also this mid-course brake run, as well as a few other additions. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, let's start off with the chain lift, because normally what you have with a roller coaster, at least ones that have a chain lift like this, you're going to have to need a catwalk. And the catwalk is basically there so, the maintenance crew can do maintenance so they can go up the chain lift and inspect it. If for whatever reason the chain lift breaks down and the train stops, the guests should be able to get out and then walk down the catwalk to get back to the ground. So we need that as well for our coaster as well, if we wanted to make it look as realistic as possible. Now, for this, you need to download another set of custom scenery, which is called ATH Catwalk Set. And again, the link will be in the description below this video. So once you've downloaded that, we can get started. So we're going to open it up. And this custom scenery set has a whole bunch of options for different types of slopes and corners and all that. And which ones you have to use really depend on which corners and how you design your lift hill and your chain hill and the corners and everything like that. So for this example, the train leaves the station and we have these two tight corners. So we're going to have to go all the way down until we find small curve grouped. So this one. And if we turn around, you can see it aligns perfectly with our track. And when it comes to color scheme, again, you have full freedom to do whatever you want. What I prefer to do is have the rails like this to be the same color as the track, and then the bottom part to be the same color as the support. So again, I'm going for orange and white. So let me flip this around, and there you go. That's already starting to look much nicer. So here we have one that goes from straight to the gentle slope. So we're gonna have to go ahead and go up until we find that piece, which is the, let's see here. There we go, flat, gentle, grouped. So we're gonna place it there, and you can always see if it's at the same height, because this should be kind of hitting the track like this. I mean, if it's like this, then it's of course too high, and if it's like this, it's too low. So now we're going to go straight up, so we need to find the gentle grouped like this, and we're just going to go ahead and copy paste this. So again, this really isn't that time consuming, but it makes a world of difference because I think this looks amazing. And again, like I said, realistic roller coasters or real life roller coasters have a catwalk, and this will make it very nice. So we're going to go ahead, go ahead and all the way to the top. Come on, there we go. Like so. Like so. Yes, it's still going well. And as you can see, the higher you get, it starts to get a little bit finicky, but it doesn't take a lot of time. So there we go. We keep going up. Now, of course, here we're going from gentle to straight. So we're going to go down until we find this one, the gentle flat grouped. So we're going to do it like this. And generally what you have with roller coasters is that they have one more piece like this. So it actually goes down a little bit. So now we have a pretty realistic catwalk for our roller coaster. But of course, the chain hill is not the only part that usually has a catwalk. The mid-course brake run also has a catwalk. So we're going to put one there as well. So we're going to go to flat grouped because these are all just flat because it's a straight track. So we're going to place it here as well. So like this. See, there you go. That looks kind of nice. And we can use a few additions here. And for this, you're going to have to download another set of custom scenery. I know, lots of custom scenery, which is called A Goodies for Coaster Set. So this one, I'm going to put in the video description for you to download. And this has a lot of extras for roller coasters. So it also has realistic looking brakes. It has a camera. It also has some supports and some catwalks. But this custom scenery set doesn't have any. It has some nice flat catwalks like this, but it doesn't have corners. So I prefer to use the ATH catwalk set for that. So we're going to go ahead and go up, and we're going to choose this brake block section. And this is going to be a little bit finicky, but it should be here, I believe. And there you go. See, I think that looks quite nice. And we're just going to go ahead and copy paste that wherever there are brakes. So here, there, and we just keep going until we have covered all the brakes. So that is the first kind of extra we can add towards this roller coaster. Nice, look at that. And it also has a camera, which roller coasters have, so they can see if a train got stuck or something's wrong at the mid-course brake run. So you can just put that somewhere like this. So there's a camera to keep it in, the guest or the train in check. So there you go. That's our mid-course brake run completed, and also our chain lift. And one more part of the roller coaster that can have a catwalk is also the end of the train. The end of the roller coaster, which is of course the final brake run. So I'm going to also cover this part right here. So from there, that's our first brake all the way to the station. Now, unfortunately, this add-on doesn't have any diagonal brakes, so we can't put ones here, which is a bit of a shame, but we can put ones here. So like this and this. And we can also put a few in the station, I guess, because this is also kind of, it matches, if you will, the look. So we're just going to go ahead and keep spamming this, if I can find it. This is a bit tricky because I can't see because of the glass, but that's okay. Like that, like this, and then yes, perfect. Okay, so let's focus on the end brake run. So I'm going to go back to ATH catwalk set. And of course, this is flat, so we're going to go ahead and use the flat ones. And of course, this is the widest turn that there is in Roller Coaster Tycoon. So we're going to go ahead and go to large left one grouped. Let's see, is this the correct one? No, I think I need the other one. Yeah, it's this one, large 2, excuse me. And there we go. And then we're going to have to go to the diagonal ones. Actually, let me check if this one... excuse me. It's the large right one group. There we go. See, this lines up perfectly. It's been a while since I used these diagonal ones, excuse me. So we're going to now go to gentle grouped, flat group A. Yeah, there we go. This one, and we're going to place that here as well. So we're going to follow the brake run here all the way to where it ends, and we can kind of end it like this. So there you go. See, that's already a nice addition to our roller coaster. We have a nice catwalk for the brake run as well, and for the final brake run. So we're getting closer and closer to finishing off this roller coaster. So what is the next addition on our list? Well, of course, we got to find our way to make a queue and of course an exit path. Now, generally what I'd like to do with a queue is one of two things. I'd like to have it a little bit go around the roller coaster, or I have like a back and forth, like a kind of a classic queue or whatever you want to call it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do just that. So I'm gonna make something like this, right? Where we kind of have a nice long queue for the guests to kind of wait in. And again, you can make this longer, you can make this shorter if you want, but I kind of like how this looks. So we can just use this. And like I said, the exit is on the other side. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and go down here. And we're going to go ahead and go underneath the roller coaster. So something like this. Yeah, that would work. And then I guess from here, we can kind of just go back here. So like this. And I'm thinking about building a path right here. So this will be where the path is. Okay, so now we got our exit path right there. And we have our queue, but as you can see, this is very kind of boring black, and this is nice white and orange. So we can change that by going to, let's see here, the detail section. And you see here a few buckets, and this is where you can change the color. So I'm going to put this on white, and I'm going to make these orange. There we go. And we can change the fencing as well. There we go. And then we go to white. There we go. And look, there we go. It's also the same kind of rail guards as the station. So that looks miles better. Okay, so one final addition you can do to your queue is make some shade, some buildings to cover the guests from the shade, because that's also what you have in realistic parks on a hot day. You know, you're standing in the queue, you're burning from the sun. Generally, you don't want that. So what we can actually make is a few, I'll show you guys a few simple designs and ones that use custom scenery. So first of all, let's go to, I like this one the most, the draped cloth rooftop. And I'm just gonna go ahead and spam that all over. And again, I want the colors to match the roller coaster. So something like this. So now it's nicely supported, or excuse me, now it's nicely covered. And I'm gonna use this scaffolding to kind of, make sure it's kind of supported. And again, it looks a little bit janky because I can't put them inside. So that's a bit unfortunate. but still it looks kind of nice. So you could do something like this. However, what I think looks a little bit better is something like, oh, excuse me, there you go, I accidentally deleted the queue. I'm just gonna go ahead and delete these because there's something I prefer, but you're gonna have to use custom scenery. But again, I think if you're following this masterclass, you'll have it. And then we're gonna go ahead and go to JCat again. Yeah, and we're gonna go to the beam vertical, because as you can see, I can actually place this kind of inside the queue, if you will. So I'm gonna find the one that kind of matches nicely with that. So this one, and you can go ahead and just place this here. So this is another option that you can do. You could use this beam vertical that kind of matches this. This will better match the line of the canvas tents. As you can see, this doesn't stick out as much. So this is, in my humble opinion, much better. And because this is custom scenery, you can also place it inside of this queue, whereas normal scenery, it won't fit there. So now this entire set of canvas tents is covered. So that's a tip for you guys. You can use the standard scenery, but honestly, I think the custom scenery using JCat Steelworks just looks a lot better. Okay, so now we kind of have most of the things done. We have our catwalk for both the chain lift, the mid-course brake run, and of course our ending brake run. We have a station, we have a queue, we have a clear path that leads the guests away from the ride, and of course a path that leads to the ride. So that is all fine and dandy. So the next thing we're going to tackle is more of the surroundings, and we're going to talk about some pathing. Now I'm going to design the pathing for this ride, and usually what I'd like to do is at the start of the queue, I always like to make a bit of a gathering area. And generally speaking, what I'd like to do with a gathering area, I like it to be accommodated with some sort of a garden or something in between, something nice to look at for the guest, or something for them to, look to kind of, stand around, hang out, wait for other people to ride the ride or something, or just stand here and look at the ride, something like that. So this is what I usually do. I make a square, and we'll get to the details in just a bit. So now we're just figuring out how to lay down the path. Now another thing I generally like to do, it's up to you, I also like to have a path that kind of surrounds the roller coaster. Not in every case, but generally speaking, with most roller coasters, unless it's at the very edge of the map, of course, when they're kind of in the middle, you should be able to walk around them, and generally speaking, it's accommodated with some other rides, of course. But since we're now just focusing on the roller coaster, I'm just going to focus on making the path around the roller coaster. And we're going to make this path straight, and we're going to make this path also diagonal. And you can see that this looks quite ugly, but don't worry, we'll get to that in just a bit. For now, we're just going to figure out the layout of the path. And again, I don't want it to be like this, because of course that means that the path will be right next to the roller coaster, because we are going to place some fences here. So we do want a little bit of space in between the supports and the path, but we'll talk about that later. So for now, we are just going to, this can be a little bit more diagonal, like so. And then maybe somewhere here. So what I'm going to do here is I want to have some kind of like a special area, if you will, where the guests can kind of chill and look at the ride. So what I'm going to do here, this is something I always like to do. So I'm going to make a bit of an extra area here. And then the rest of the path can go maybe here. So we have kind of a nice split up here. Let's see if I can better accommodate this. Yeah, so something like this. And then generally because this is something I usually like to do when it comes to these really big inversions. It's always really cool if the guests can kind of stand next to the first drop or really big inversion. They can look up and see this really cool ride. And what I'll do is I'll place some benches here, some flowers, and maybe even like a small food court for the guests to enjoy. So that's always what I like to do. And this is also what you see on some rides. They, Top Thrill Dragster has a nice little, has some, how do you say, like some stands or whatever you can stand on or sit on while you watch the ride launch. And a few other rides have that as well. And here, it doesn't have to be too fancy, so we can just walk around. This can go a little bit more inward, so the guests can get a little bit closer to that big 0G roll. That's going to look awesome. And then we're going to go around. Again, we're going to make sure there's a bit of space here. And then here is where the guests exit the roller coaster. So what we can do is we kind of line up this path with, gonna just go diagonal, yeah, something like this. There we go. And then the path can continue here, here, and then we can just circle it around until we're, yeah, let's just do it here. That's fine. And then we're gonna finish it off. Let's see if I can just make this a little bit more. There we go. It's a bit more. Okay. So this is now the kind of the general layout when it comes to pathing. And now it looks very ugly because this is all very blocky. But we have another thing we need to talk about, another add-on, which is Beastie's Path Covers. And Beastie's Path Covers allows you to make, you know, very nice and very smooth turns. So let me open up the add-on here. And there's a lot of options for you to choose from when it comes to making paths. So for instance, if you want to make a kind of like a proper turn, if you will, you can do something like this, which looks really, really nice. Now, keep in mind, the guest cannot walk on this add-on, this mod, so you still need pathing underneath, which is exactly why I made this. Now, I'm just going to focus on making some diagonal pathing. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to this dia, or dia for diagonal, of course. And I'm going to place it in all the missing areas, if you will. So of course here, because here we'll have just normal pathing. And I'm just going to go around this entire circle and place wherever I want there to be a diagonal path. So something like this, something like this. Let's see here. We can have something like this. And then a bit here, there. And of course here. So now this might not make a whole lot of sense, but just wait until we've covered everything and you'll see it will make an absolute world of difference. There is one problem with this add-on, is that unfortunately it does cover up the shade. So the shades of the right and anything, because if I place it, look, you can see it kind of takes it up. So that's the only downside of this add-on, but for the rest, it's a great add-on. Again, you have so many options when it comes to building some more realistic pathing. So I think it's well worth it because the stock pathing, if you will, is very limited in this game. So we're gonna just keep on building like so. Okay, and we have a little, actually I'm gonna make this a little bit more, there we go. I like the look of this a bit more. And of course, here, and I think this should be it for now. Okay, all right, so let's fill in the rest of the spots, which are pretty much almost squared. So if I do this, you can see it already starts to take shape. Now what you could do is just spam like this, 1, 2, 3, and you just keep going and going and going. What I advise you to do if you're trying to cover a lot of pathing is I advise you to make like this, like a 4 block or 8 or 6 or whatever, and then save this with the pre-saved function. So you can just copy paste this all over again, which is exactly what I did and which is exactly what we're going to use. So let me just go ahead and delete this. And we're going to go ahead to my saved scenery. I'm going to scroll down a bit until we find the item in question. There we go, 2x2 tile gray. And as you can see, this works a lot faster than spamming every single individual block. So we're just going to go over all these bigger sections, these 2x2, and just go all the way around the pathing once again. And as you can see, it's starting to take shape. And like I said before, it just looks a lot better than you know, using the stock pathing. And there we go. We have a bit here and a bit here. And don't worry, of course, in the end, I'll make sure that the path from the guest is connected to this one. So there, and then this over here. Okay, so now we just have a few individual pieces left. So I'm going to go back to the add-on and I'm going to go ahead with the full one. And of course, like I said, as always, the link for this add-on will be in the description below this video. Okay, now what I could do is I could put these down and there we go. But this looks very kind of blocky, if you will. I'm not sure I like it too much. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the full quarter and put that in these corners, but not this one, not this outer one, right? And then we're going to scroll down until we find, or scroll up, excuse me, curve 5. And we're going to plop it down here. And there you go. I think that this looks just a bit more smooth. And we're going to make it a little bit smoother by using curve 5B. And look at that. I think this looks much, much better. There we go. that looks pretty sweet. We can even use it in every single like 90-degree turn we can find. But if you look at this, this looks pretty amazing. Now, when it comes to these elevated pieces, there's another mode for BC's path mods, which you'll find in roofs, walls, and buildings. You can see here. And here you're able to actually also put down some paths with some railings. So let's see here. I'm going to use orange because we have an orange track. And this works the same way. You just use shift and there we go. I'm going to flip it around and there we go. Look at that. And we also need one without rail. There we go. And finally some stairs, which are right here. Stair. Look at that. Super easy, and it makes a world of difference. Now the path matches this. So we have a few sections left. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to go back to foliage. And I'm going to go first to the full block right here. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I want some smooth edges to make it look a little bit more pretty. We go to full quarter. Yes. So this is now all covered. Then we're going to go to our curve 5, like so. Yes. All right. And then last but not least, I'm going to use this one. And flip it around here. I'm not going to use it on this inner piece, and I'll show you why in just a minute. So let's go ahead and fill up the last few spots. And that will be it for the pathing. So there we go. And I know this doesn't have much to do with the roller coaster, but like I said, a lot of how realistic and how nice a roller coaster looks has to do with the surroundings as well. So this is why we're also spending a lot of time about things that are around the roller coaster, not just about the roller coaster itself. Okay. And then we have a section here still. Okay, and then I think this might be the last piece of the puzzle. Yes, nice. Look at that. That looks pretty awesome. Like I said, I'll in just a bit I can connect this and then the guests can walk there. But for now, we're just focusing on the roller coaster and of course the surroundings. Okay, so I have an open space here, and I want some sort of a garden here. Again, you have a lot of freedom in what you can do, but what I usually like to do is I go to the foliage and then I go to small hedge. And I just plop this down, and you can see this is exactly why I didn't use that corner piece here, because the small hedge covers it, so there's no need. And then I'd like to place these small hedges in these corners here, so you have something like this. Yeah. Then we go to small green bush, and we're going to plop it down like this. All right, so you have something like this, and here you can put some trees or some flowers. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover it like this. Again, you can copy this design, you don't have to, but I'll leave that up to you. And let's go ahead and put some flowers here. And I'm thinking about using similar colored flowers for this that in the roller coaster. We have white and orange flowers, and the coaster is white and orange. I think that looks kind of pretty. And then in the middle, I want maybe a fountain. So I go to scenery items and I go down. Yeah, let's just use this one. And there we go. That's a nice little fountain for the guests to enjoy, and like a central gathering area around the roller coaster. Okay. And there's of course one final piece here, which I will put some other stuff as well. Okay, so what is there in terms of surroundings to do? So we're almost there, and there's one final thing I want to cover before we move on to the scenery, even though that will be in the last episode. So we're going to tackle one more thing. Now, because one thing that makes the roller coaster even more realistic, if it has some fences around this path, because now, I mean, it kind of looks like the guests can just walk up right to the support here or go right over to the track. It looks a little bit weird, you know. If you look at a roller coaster in real life, it's always fenced off, so guests can't just walk up to the ride and, I don't know, something nasty will happen basically. So you want to fence this off. Now, there are fences in the game. So if we go to this one, fences, and we use, I don't know, let's say a chain link, this is all fine and dandy. The problem is that we can't use this diagonally. So what you're going to have is, you know, if we want to make this diagonally, you're going to have to do it like this. And this looks hideous. We don't want that. We have diagonal pathing, so we want diagonal fencing. The problem is, how do we get diagonal fencing? Well, my friend, what you're going to do you're going to go back to JCAT Steelworks again, and we're going to make our own custom fencing. What you're going to do is you're going to take this beam vertical, and you can choose whatever color you want. It can be white, it can be, you know, black or blue, whatever you want. You can be gray. And I want you to place that, let's see, just like this. So there we go, that it kind of sticks out. And then we're going to use a beam straight, yeah. And you're going to lift that up once and then another time. So there you go. You see we have kind of like two straight beams and one vertical. And then we're going to place another vertical beam like this. And there you go. See, that's kind of that kind of looks like a fence. Now you can use this, of course, straight, but obviously this doesn't work diagonally. But let me show you guys what I mean. So this you can already save, but we can also do that diagonally. So what you're going to do, you're going to go to beam diagonal, right? And we're going to apply the same principle. So we're going to lift this once and twice and another time. You can also make this one block if you want. And then we're going to go back to beam vertical. And we're going to make sure this aligns. So this one doesn't align quite as well. I'm going to flip it around until we find one that's kind of more adequate. There we go. That's a bit better. And then this one goes down like this. And there you go. And as you can see, this right here is some pretty decent, not perfect, but pretty decent looking diagonal fencing. And again, what you can do, you can go to custom structures, select objects, and you can save it. And you call this fence diagonal or something like that, which is exactly, again, it's exactly what I did with my save scenery, so to say. So if I go down, and we go all the way to the F, I believe is where I have it. So here you can see I have fence diagonal, fence single, fence straight. So now I'm able to actually copy paste and put, you know, kind of realistic fencing around this roller coaster. So this is exactly what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to place diagonal fencing wherever I want. And this actually kind of matches the path kind of nicely. Oh, by the way, I see that I've used 3 single bars here. You can do that as well. So you can use either 2 of these or 3. I'll leave that up to you guys. So here we have a couple of diagonal ones. So let's go ahead and go to these straight ones. Fence straight, yep, over here. And we're just gonna go ahead and use these two and go all around the roller coaster. And as you can see, we're able to fence off the roller coaster quite nicely, and it follows the pathing when it comes to, you know, it being diagonal, of course. So I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna go back to our diagonal fence, and we're just gonna keep on going until we've covered all of the surroundings of the roller coaster, if you will. So here, and I want to place one kind of here. So we have an open spot here, so we can place a single one. All right, so just like something like this. Okay, so here we have a few straight pieces again. Actually, I'm just going to use the single one for now. That's fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then something like this. And then we can kind of follow this along. So because this is very close to the path, I'm going to put this right next to the path. I don't want any space in between because it's going to overlap with the support. So I'm just going to use it like this. Yeah. And I think I'm just going to, you know, make some diagonal and connect it right here. And then same here. Oh, by the way, I see I forgot some footers here. See, this is another reason to double check things. So let me just go ahead real quick to the footers here. There we go. Perfect. Okay, let's go back to our diagonal one. And we're getting closer and closer to finishing up the roller coaster. It took us quite a while, but you can see just how much detail you can get into when it comes to building, I guess, realistic roller coasters in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, and how many options there are when it comes to building a roller coaster, and how much mods enhance the experience of Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. Because, you know, playing with or without mods, it's kind of like night and day. I mean, if we would just build this roller coaster, and after building the track, we would just give it a nice color, maybe some trees around it, and we would call it a day. But here you can see just how much more work this is, but also how much this adds to just how nice the roller coaster looks. So yeah, that's the same, you know, I keep repeating it, but it is true. the more time you put into this, the better it will look. It can be very time consuming, this, but it can be super rewarding as well. So yeah, that's why I like doing this. Okay, so here, let me just go ahead and go to fence straight. Yeah. And I'm just going to make sure that this goes all the way to the station. So like this. So this is now fenced off. Guests cannot go cannot walk up to the roller coaster, so to say. So we are almost done. We have our exit path here. And I want our exit path to also, of course, be, covered, so to say. So the guests, of course, can't walk up to the roller coaster from the exit side. Okay, let's go to fence diagonal again. Okay, and then we just have a single straight. We need to use straight single. Okay, that is now sealed off. And of course this has to be sealed off. So let me just go ahead and maybe start here. Oh yeah, actually let me just delete these because we need the space for the fencing. So this was a nice idea, but it doesn't work, but that's okay. Let me just see if I can flip this over. Yeah, like this. And then, yeah, that looks fine. There we go. And then this can be a bit more, yeah, like this is fine. Like so. And then, yeah, so that's covered up. So now I just need a few diagonal pieces. Let's see here, diagonal, yes. Yeah, now we need a single one. You can see just how great this pre-saved option is, because imagine if you had to place this all individually, piece by piece. You'd be here until tomorrow. And I think I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm just going to go ahead and fence this off, and then let's see. Yeah, I could just put one diagonal single here. So let's go here, diagonal single, and there we go. Nice. Look at that. Okay, so last but not least, let me just make a connector path for the guests. So yeah, I'm just going to put it straight like this. And I'm going to make sure that this kind of connects with each other. So like this. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of adjust this a little bit. So like this. And once again, I'm going to load up my pre-save design for the bigger tiles. So like this. There we go. And I'm going to cover, of course, all the way till the entrance. Nice. And then finally, for this part at least, let's use these curve 5B to make these edges a bit more smooth. All right. Okay, so now we have one final area left, which is this. And I'm actually thinking about just putting down some trees here. So let's see here. I'm thinking about a few, maybe some small apple trees like this. So just a few here to kind of spruce things up like that. And then here I want to maybe put down some seats. So we can go to the path extras. We can put down some benches here, maybe a few here as well for the guests to kind of chill. We can have a wooden display point. There were some random facts about the roller coaster. And of course, naturally speaking, the more you expand on these paths, the more you want to also make sure that the paths are accommodated with trash cans and wooden benches. And of course, if we're going to plan on advancing this scenario or this park, of course, we're going to accommodate it with some, some facilities like toilets or, like a burger stall or a food stall or drink stall, whatever you want. So let me just go ahead and decorate this path just a little bit more. Now, because this is our general gathering area, I do want there to be a fair bit of benches where people can kind of chill and sit and just relax. So something like this, something like this. And again, if I would expand on this, I would put a food court here, and same accounts here for this part. But for now, I think you guys get the idea of just being able to plop down the custom pathing and accommodate that with some benches and some trash cans. So yeah, just, here and there, I like to put it like this, and then we go around some benches as well. So here and here. So there we go. We can keep going until we've covered all of the ride. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this part of the masterclass. As you can see, we've covered the queue line, we've covered the catwalk, We've covered how we kind of make a general gathering area, some place like where you have the where people can chill and look at the roller coaster, and where the queue starts. And we've covered how to make some more smooth and realistic looking pathing with BT's path mods. We've installed some fencing so the guests can't walk up to the ride, as they could not in real life. And we've also made that with some custom supports. Again, you can make them like this, so 2 beams or 3 beams like this. I'll leave it up to you guys. And yeah, we're getting closer and closer to finishing this off, because in the next episode, the final episode, we'll go over just some random foliage and maybe some landscaping. And yeah, that will be it. So for now, we are done. I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be the last episode of the RCT3 Masterclass, episode 9. But until then, I hope you learned something. Again, all the mods will be in the description below this video. And hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching.